The architect never understood humanity. The architect kept millions of humans trapped in a lie for hundreds of years. In Matrix 4, it was revealed that the father of the simulation had been replaced by another program that was able to accomplish something that the architect never could: create a better Matrix. In this video, we will be analyzing the architect and why he never succeeded in eliminating the integral anomaly. Welcome to Matrix Explained.
Welcome to the desert of the real.
The architect, introduced in Matrix Reloaded, was presented as the god of the simulation. Although we saw him for the first time in the second film, there were already hints of this supreme program in the first film. Those tiny TV monitors before the scene where Smith interrogates Neo. Those small TV screens are then seen again in the architect's office. The architect saw everything that happened in the Matrix from the comfort of his office, on a plane outside the simulation. The Oracle saw everything from inside the simulation. The father had his little screens, and the mother had her eyes. They both could see everything, an omniscience that allowed the architect to maintain control for a long time. After humans were enslaved to the Matrix, the architect created multiple simulations, of which many were failures. The human mind was not so easy to convince of the lie.
Did you know that the first Matrix was designed to be a perfect human world where none suffered, where everyone would be happy? It was a disaster. No one would accept the program. Entire crops were lost.
The desire to awaken from the Matrix was a problem that the father could not solve. That unconscious human desire caused errors in the system. Now another program created to understand the human psyche suggested a solution: add false choice to the equation. That is, humans would no longer be in a completely deterministic simulation, but could have a certain level of freedom, even if this freedom was false. It's like playing a video game. No matter how interesting or realistic it is, if we do not have control of the gameplay, we will lose interest in playing it. The Oracle then suggested adding other choices to the Matrix. The blue and red pills, the Path of the One, and Zion were all results of choice being added to the equation. And this caused a bigger problem. By adding choice to the Matrix, the architect was causing humans to somehow pour all of their doubts and hopes into the creation of a savior. The architect called the error the integral anomaly. Although he could predict everything Neo did, there was something about Neo that escaped the father. As much as the architect had tried, he could not remove this error from the equation. Instead, he had to create patches for the simulation to integrate the anomaly into it. After all, the simulation was working 99% effectively. The architect gave the Oracle more creative freedom to modify the path of that anomaly. If they couldn't eliminate it, they could use it to improve the Matrix. This is how the Path of the One was created. But then something that the architect could never have expected happened. Smith was infected with the same anomaly. Smith became a virus that was infecting everything in his path. The anomaly in the Matrix was created by love and/or human hope. Smith embodied human hatred and the thirst for destruction, our ego, and all other negative traits that humanity has developed. Just as humans created Neo, Neo created Smith. Smith is the negative side of Neo.
He is you. You're opposite, you're negative. The result of the equation trying to balance itself out.
This clip is from the second film, but we already had a good idea of what Smith's future role was going to be by the end of the first movie. When Neo dies and receives Trinity's kiss, he finally understands that the reality of the Matrix is an illusion. Neo starts to see everything in code because he is enlightened. Neo then jumps into Smith and destroys him, symbolizing the destruction of human malice. That grand moment of enlightenment created Neo, but it also created Smith, because all the doubts and negative emotions were passed on to the agent.
Part of you imprinted onto me, something overwritten or copied.
Neo's enlightenment process in the first film was not rational. It was closer to a spiritual awakening. It was the manifestation of the true Messiah, thanks to a kiss of love. Likewise, it escaped the architect's rationality. And it is for that same reason that the architect could not stop Smith alone, because like the anomaly, Smith is under the influence of human emotions. Understand that for a program like the architect, Not having control over one of his programs, like Smith, who was getting stronger by the minute, must have been frustrating for the father. So much so that the father had no choice but to accept the deal between Deus Ex Machina and Neo to save everyone. The architect kept his part of the deal. The father allowed the awakening of the humans who wanted to leave the Matrix, showing that the integral anomaly was so powerful that it forced the architect to honor the truce. Without a doubt, the events surrounding Neo and Smith must have left the father confused. The architect never understood how things went the way they did, but the analyst did. The analyst saw Neo and understood that perhaps humans did not need a perfect simulation. They needed a simulation where they could express themselves emotionally, and preferably, negatively. Negative emotions are powerful. Subjecting humans to mental stress generates more energy for the Matrix. The analyst began doing experiments on Neo and Trinity, and in the process, he discovered a better way to control humanity in the Matrix. The Oracle added choice, the hope that humans could escape the Matrix. The analyst, on the other hand, was more astute. Humans did not want to escape the Matrix. Humans wanted to have their own unique and comfortable realities, just like Cypher did.
Why, oh why didn't I take the blue pill?
The humans who woke up from the Matrix ended up in the middle of a war, and some people resented being forced to fight in a war they did not ask to fight in. Hope or war, neither helped to give greater stability to the Matrix. And so the architect began to leave the responsibility of updating the Matrix to the integral anomaly itself. As we mentioned earlier, the analyst understood the Matrix does not need to be perfect. That obsession with perfection was the reason it was failing. The architect was trying to create one simulation for everyone. Matrix 4 introduced a new idea, a personal simulation for each person, where each human could make their own story and live their own lives, no matter how absurd they may be. And it worked.
The only world that matters is the one in here. And you people believe the craziest shit. Why? What validates and makes your fictions real? Feelings.
Neo was in a simulation where he was a successful video game developer. Trinity was a mechanic, living with depression and the frustrations of being a wife and a mother. The Matrix kept Neo busy with his gaming responsibilities, as well as Trinity with her family. The analyst understood that for the Matrix to work, each person connected to the simulation must have their own story. He understood that human emotions are the secret to the stability of the Matrix, something that the architect could never understand. This is why we see people using social media in the movie, because the analyst, as part of his control over people, has immersed them in simulations within simulations, simulations that people want. Tom's simulation also used Neo's story to keep him in the Matrix. It used the memories of who Tom was to keep him bound.
That's what the Matrix does. It weaponizes every idea, every dream, everything that's important to us.
The difference between the architect and the analyst is that the father never cared about human desires. He only wanted perfection. The analyst takes our desires and uses them against us. Those are simulations of our own making, perfectly tailored for us. You can compare the analyst's simulations to recommendation algorithms of social media networks like TikTok, which adapts to your tastes and reactions. These simulations are modified according to the actions and reactions of each person. The reason why the new Matrix simulation is so dangerous is that it is not created entirely by the machines. Human desires and emotions play a part in its creation. In the end, the architect never understood the most important thing of all. For humans, emotions are more important than reason. The analyst is a very dangerous program because he understood what the architect never could. Sometimes, in order to manipulate someone, knowing their likes and dislikes is better than knowing their strengths and weaknesses. But do you agree? Why did the architect fail where the analyst succeeded? For Matrix Explained, please leave a like and subscribe. And thank you for visiting The desert of the real.